The time is now 4:30. I would like to call the May 28th, 2024 meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're going to move to number 3 on our agenda, public comment on agenda items other than development or rezoning applications. Is there anyone wishing to speak on any of our agenda items? Anyone that comes up, you are just asked to say your name. You do not need to say your address, but you can write that down afterward. And everyone gets 5 minutes.
Hi, I'm John Groh. I think people here know who I am, former supervisor. I'm here, I will be very brief with you. 2 matters to comment on, and please don't be scared. It's just good stuff, okay? I come here to offer support for the golf course, for the sale of that there. And I know that a couple months ago there was about 5 hours of testimony before Judge Piccinini in regards to getting permission to even go this far. So it looks like you guys are heading in that direction to hopefully get bids and so on. And so I applaud that effort right there. It's something that I learned to play at that golf course well over 50 years ago. I hate to see that happen, but still at the same time, it's the responsible thing for Millcreek Township to do. As Attorney Shaw had proved in court this is a burden for the township to the taxpayers, and it's a financial burden, which we were able to prove to the judge and to the courts on that there. The second part is that I see the government study ordinance is on the agenda, and I do ask that you support and approve that there. I am not part of any citizen group here. I'm just an interested party, and as some of you may know my history, I have supported the idea of changing the form of government here, or at least looking at it and doing an honest effort into it there. And just if I could add one further thing as far as facts. This is one of these things that can get so skewed and messed up. In fact, I was even kind of bothered by the article in the newspaper today, the way it was headlined about government study not being, about home rule and taxes going up. What a way to title an article. Okay, it's an optional plan question there. Years ago, when the question was brought up again, I had the ability to interview Ed Fosnot, who was a liaison to the DCED, asking him factual questions about a government study. I would like to do that same thing over as an elected official, as an auditor. So I know we have the studio use up there at WQLN. I asked Jessica before the meeting about that. She's going to check about the policy about using that there. So since I'm a neutral party in it, but somebody who is very well versed in what this is about, I hope that you folks will afford me that ability to do that as soon as we can make arrangements. First of all, you have to pass the ordinance, and then I have to get somebody from DCED since Ed has retired. So I ask for your consideration on all those matters there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Groh.
Good afternoon. I'm Art Olajeri. I am part of a concerned Millcreek residents group. I represent them. I'm here right now on behalf of Sue Weber, who could not be here. This is her letter to the supervisors. Firstly, I want to thank the supervisors for respecting the months of hard work the citizens group put into research and planning by voting unanimously to place an ordinance on today's agenda, which contains the question our citizens group asked you to put on the ballot. Sue served as an elected official in this community for 20 years, 12 as a Millcreek supervisor and 8 as a county controller. I know from that experience the amount of research it takes to make informed decisions, and we appreciate the research you have done since we brought our requests to you several weeks ago. As you know, at the May 14th meeting, when it was suggested you look at a ballot question which could result in home rule government for Millcreek, I immediately spoke up against the idea, noting I thought home rule would allow for real estate taxes to be increased beyond what is permitted under our current form of government. Fortunately, Kim was listening, thanks Kim, and Thursday when Sue and she spoke, I learned she had taken the time to research the topic of home rule government for townships. Thank you, Kim, for being so diligent and doing so much homework. She shared with me she discovered home rule could indeed increase Millcreek residents' real estate taxes greatly, plus increase their wage taxes and add other forms of taxation. So she would never be in favor of that. Our senior citizens could literally end up being taxed out of their homes where they raised their families and worked a lifetime to pay for and maintain. The ordinance on the agenda today would allow the voters to decide if they want a government study commission elected by them to study the current form of government as well as forms of government employed by other large townships, but not study or even consider home rule. It is very telling that there are 1,456 second-class townships in Pennsylvania, and only 20 of these have home rule government. Again, we thank you for doing your homework and placing an ordinance on today's agenda that does not include the study of home rule government. We ask that all of you vote to approve this ordinance, which means standing up against any form of government that could hurt Millcreek residents financially. Thank you.
Thank you. Someone else.
Members of the board and staff, good afternoon. My name is Brian McGrath, longtime Millcreek resident. I'm here to address the home rule charter. I'm just kidding. I'm here to address the proposed sale of the Erie Golf Club. I wrote this, I'm going to read from this because I don't want to go over the 5 minutes. Designed by world-famous architect A.W. Tillinghast, the course is an amazingly beautiful property and is in the best condition that I can remember in the 60 years that I've been playing Erie Golf Club. Erie Golf Club has been enjoyed by thousands and thousands of golfers, and for over 100 years, it's been owned by the community. The catchy little phrase often used when this subject is mentioned is Millcreek shouldn't be in the golf course business. My response is, why not? Erie Golf Club is not unique. There are nearly 3,000 municipally owned golf courses throughout the U.S. There are 5 in Erie County. With the exception of high-end municipal courses like Bethpage Black in New York, also a Tillinghast design, and Torrey Pines in San Diego, municipal golf courses are meant to provide an affordable alternative to private courses and country clubs. There aren't many places where a young golfer could pay $15 to play a course designed by a legend. Also, often repeated is Millcreek shouldn't be competing with privately owned courses. Well, Millcreek's tennis courts and pools provide less expensive and free alternatives to private clubs like Westwood and Penbriar, and Kakwa and Lakeshore Country Clubs. Our picnic pavilions don't compete with Stephanie's Grove and Skabinski's. They are subsidized by local government to provide easier access. Millcreek and other governmental agencies use tax dollars to fund many forms of public recreation: parks, playgrounds, ball fields, walking trails, basketball courts, typically with no fees. Heck, our state owns, operates, and subsidizes 2 marinas in Erie County for boaters who don't want to belong to a yacht club. I've read that Erie Golf Club's irrigation system is in need of extensive repairs, okay? I know that all recreational facilities require ongoing maintenance. Some are very expensive, like resurfacing tennis courts, pool liners and pumps, fencing, and roofs on structures. But when such repairs are needed, those facilities aren't abandoned or sold. The repairs are budgeted and then done. Excuse me. I know that Erie County Court has ruled that should Erie Golf Club be sold, the property must remain either a golf course or a park. That's good. But I believe that relinquishing control over the property and ultimate operational oversight of the facility is a mistake. I'm asking the board to reconsider their current path. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McGrath.
Good evening. My name is Dave Oliver, and I'm here to speak also on the Government Study Commission that you're going to look at and vote on tonight. I'm not part of any group, but I do agree with what was read, that Sue Weber wanted to be sure that the aspect of Home Rule Charter was taken out. Do I understand that is true? It's not part of it. Very good. I support what you're doing, and I also thank you for your thoughtfulness to take that deeper look into it, to keep the whole thing very simple and clear so the voters can figure out what they want to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oliver. Anyone else like to speak?
My name's Jim Stedman. I spoke to the supervisors at the last meeting about the Government Study Commission. I just wanted to thank you for doing what was asked and putting together the ordinance. It looks fine, and I appreciate your willingness to listen to the citizens on this. So thank you very much.
And I will note all 3 of the supervisors did agree to the language that had been presented. So, who is next?
Kathy O'Neill. It just take me a minute because I don't really understand a lot about what's going on. And I just hope that I'm here to comment on the Government Study Commission. It doesn't seem like enough people know a lot about it. And of course, we have questions. And I just hope that there's not a vindictive nature to this. You know, people certainly deserve to have answers to what they don't understand, but that's all I want to say. I just hope there's not a vindictive nature to this. Thank you. I guess I need to sign in here.
Thank you. Bless you. Someone else?
Jerry Svenio. first of all, I don't think anybody's really opposed to a study. I'm opposed personally to the way it's being rushed, and I think you're part of this little citizens group, Mr. Bach. Maybe I'm wrong. You introduced the ordinance. I think you have a conflict of interest, and I don't think you should have been able to vote on the 14th, and I don't think you should be able to vote tonight. I'm not sure. I'm going to ask Mr. Shaw if he thinks it's a conflict of interest. I'm sure you knew or had some idea who was going to show up on the 14th and what was going to be discussed. One of my biggest issues with this is there's no transparency, which you people want. It's not open. You haven't educated the public. You haven't reached out except on a Tuesday. You put it in the paper. This has been a very silent type of procedure here. This is just like downtown county council stuff. It's brought up, bang. Supporters are there. I just look at it and think it's just a little shady. And I think there's a little bias against Kim. There was a little bias against Mr. Olette. When Mr. Olajeri came up and talked the first time, he said he had heard that two supervisors opposed it. And then he withdrew his remarks. But he reiterated it again before he sat back down. And I'm sure it's just not him that feels that way. I feel there are a lot of people here that really believe in their heart as to what they spoke to, that they believe that it should occur, but I don't think they carry the same animosity, bias again, that some people do in this group. For the supervisors up here, maybe not you, maybe the other two, and maybe none of them. I may be wrong, and I apologize if I am. And to the cost, Mr. Grove got up here last time and said, what does cost matter? We stood in front of here on a fire department, and Mr. Grove spoke about the cost of a fire department. That's public safety. That's an issue just like this issue. That's a big issue. There should be not, if he considers the cost there, why not the cost here? You're going to have to pay 7 members. Not a lot of money, not much money, time spent. Plus, if they hire anybody, and don't forget what happened downtown. Strategy Solutions, $89,000. That was a study downtown. Yet somebody stands up here and says there's not a cost or you don't have to pay attention to the cost. No, that's not right. This 15 days after this, after the committee is elected, they have to get together and set up. I did a lot of research on this. I mean, I've been sitting home racking my head. Some people can laugh or think it's, a little silly. But, I care about this township. And again, I sat up here last time and said, whoa, look at the new faces. Let's hope they come back, because there's just as big a questions on this as there is down the road. Let's not make this a one-time thing, just to prove their point or make their point. So, Mr. Shaw, is it a conflict of interest for him to propose this ordinance and then vote for it?
The conflict of interest rules focus mostly on financial gain and financial interest based on the information I'm aware of. I wouldn't think there is. But obviously I've not been presented with that question before you raised it. So it's a little hard to comment on it in a vacuum, but there's I don't believe there's anything, at least that I'm aware of, that would prevent the supervisor from voting on an issue that he supports or he otherwise presses.
Well, under the ethics, S 1103, section J. Now, it says, do you want me to give you my phone? Voting conflict. Do you want it?
Sure.
I may be wrong. There's no mention of monetary before that item J. There isn't if he has an interest in that, but there's, in that item J, there is nothing, and I may be wrong.
I think when they're referencing interest here, it's his personal benefit. I mean, not obviously, if interest is as broadly interpreted as you're thinking, then they could never vote on anything because they would always have an interest in the outcome or how things may what the results may be. But if they have a personal interest in something, say for instance, I'm trying to grab an example here, but they vote on the sale of a piece of property that, say, Mr. Bach owns a 5% interest in. He probably shouldn't vote on that. That would probably be, most likely be a conflict of interest because it would have some positive impact on him if it would go up for sale. So those are the types of things that typically, supervisors should not vote on. So
I just was concerned that he proposed the ordinance and then voted on it.
yeah, I mean that's a standard. That happens all the time. People propose ordinances or resolutions or things like that.
I don't appreciate the way it was handled, and I still don't. And I think it's wrong. I think it should be tabled, and I think the public should be informed. Informed correctly. I think you should spend some money, since you're willing to spend any money, on educating the public and getting out there. Mr. Groh wants to run a little program to talk about it. Maybe that's something that's valuable. I know it probably won't happen, and I apologize that I would ask you that's a conflict of, ask about you as a conflict of interest. We've had many talks, including in front of your house where I pulled in your driveway. So.
Thank you for visiting me, Jerry.
So again, thank you, and hey, you make me think. It's hard, man. So thank you for the time. Thank you, Mr. Shaw, for your explanation. I should have called you, then I wouldn't have had to ask.
And to your point, Mr. Servideo, I've already spoken to our communications coordinator about maybe making a landing page for residents and putting some information out there, including a better idea of what the cost would be, what the different options could be, and what those would look like, as well as some sample budgets from other townships and things like that. So,
Okay.
Just so that people can make an educated decision.
Well, I thank you guys for your vote, and I realize it's a vote maybe you didn't necessarily agree with, but it's one you certainly had to agree with, which is a sad thing, too. I don't think it should have been brought up at this time. Thank you.
Mary Ellen Majock. I first came here to speak February 14th last year, after the land purchases were made. And I saw you for the first time there, Jerry. And I've come many times afterwards, too. So I kind of get this vibe of, oh, it's a conspiracy. But there are a group of people who have organized and met and gotten together in many different ways since the press release on January 31st, which was announcing the sale of the properties. There are a lot of citizens that are very upset about that expenditure of money. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Margaret Mead. We've been organizing, we've been communicating, we've been looking for people, inviting people to meet, to talk, to communicate, etc. And that's why Sue Weber brought the initial suggestion to the Board of Supervisors. This didn't come out of some little, clandestine group. Many of them are here tonight, and many of them were here last March, too, to speak about this purchase of property and to speak about the schoolhouse preservation. So I just don't think it's right that there's this allegation that something shady was being done, because there's a lot of allegations of shady deals in this township. That's all I have. Oh, and by the way, there's no video on YouTube right now, again.
Bill, this is being taped, though, and will be available for people at a later time. Okay. Okay. So this will be available after the meeting when it's uploaded.
I am Art Olager. I'm speaking for Art Olager. I just want to clarify a couple of things.
You look
First,
different now.
the concerned citizens of Millcreek originated the study for another form of government. It really wasn't something that was developed by the supervisors. They don't have a special interest in it. We brought it to the board to vote on, and there should be no reason why the supervisors should not vote about it. There's no conflict of interest. It wasn't something that originated with the supervisor. It really originated from the concerned citizens of Millcreek. So there's no conflict of interest. I mean, all supervisors, should be voting on. That's what you're paid to do. And as we developed this, there was no pay for the people that would be elected to study on this commission. There's no pay for that, no charge for that to Millcreek. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you, Mr. Olagieri. And I think it's written into the legislation that there's no pay for the members, but it would be solicitor fees, advertising fees. It would be the cost of the study.
That's correct. The commission members do not get paid, but if they have any expenses, I believe those get covered. And if they hire any third parties to do any evaluations or studies and so forth, or if they hire a staff member to organize what they're doing, all of that would have to be paid.
Yeah, and we're going to try to research that so that we allow the voters to make an educated decision on if that's what they want to spend the money on. We'll make sure we get that to people. Here. Oh.
But if you read the ordinance, and it says pursuant.
Yeah. Go ahead, yeah, if you wouldn't mind speaking into the microphone.
I'm sorry. Give me 1 second, please. I'm pretty sure because I looked at, I really took my time on this. Pursuant to 53 PA CSA and 2912 of the Home Rule Charter and Optional Plan Law, the Government Study Commission of 7 members shall be elected. So I went under that, and this is where I found all this information as he stated. They will not be paid, but they will regroup some of the money and time spent doing this. And they could hire a third party. It's right in that. If you take the time to read it, which I did, I wasn't corrected. And to Miss Macioch, I'm sorry if I offended you, but I said there was bias on some people. I didn't say all. So thank you for your time again. And if you can look the same thing up I did, and you'll understand what will be charged. I'm sorry.
Would anyone else like to speak today?
I don't have a statement to make, but it may help if somebody explained, this is a very long process. There's going to be a lot of transparency, a lot of study, a lot of openness about it. This isn't a vote that you're changing anything today. It just may help for you to explain that.
Mr. Rubino, I will repeat just because I don't know that the recording picks you up. So Mr. Rubino just stated that this would be a long process, that this just puts the question on, but that the information afterward that we're going to accumulate will help others make an educated decision. I do understand that there was a time limit as well. We're kind of under a time crunch, and that was why it was asked to be put on the agenda for the end of May, because the signatures would have to be gathered in between, I believe it was June 16th and August 14th. So I think that's, I know I learned early on county council, just slow it down, right, Terry? Slow it down.
13th Tuesday before the November 5th.
Yeah.
13th Tuesday, you have to have stuff.
Yes, that's right. So,
About July 9th, what I looked at today.
but I think that what had been brought up,
I'm not correct, I don't know if
I think you're right, 13th Tuesday before. So but we're going to get the information. I know I've been making phone calls. I've been studying other budgets of other townships and also taking a look at their studies. So we will do our best to get the information. But yes, this is a long process, and noted.
30 seconds. One of the things we learned from were some excellent videos that are on YouTube. What was that guy's name? Russ? The guy he was on the commission. Russell Thompson recorded a lot of really good videos of the candidates that were going to do the government study had it been approved. So there's information that's available to the public, and that might be worthwhile having on the township website because it's very educational, including from a former president or former professor at Mercyhurst.
Anyone else? Okay, then we will go ahead and move forward with the agenda. All right, approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
And you have a second.
It was, a motion was made by Mr. Olet, seconded by Mr. Bach. Any discussion? Mr. Olet, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion carries. Next, we have approval of the bills. Do I have a motion to approve the bills?
So moved.
And I'll second.
Motion was made by Mr. Olet, seconded by Mr. Bach. Mr. Olet, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion carries. Bids and quotations, the vehicle lease amended request from the MPD. Chief Mook.
Thank you, Mrs. Clear. At the last public board meeting on April 30th, I had requested and was granted permission by the board to lease a half-ton pickup truck. The intention was to use that vehicle to replace a 17-year-old pickup truck that's used by our arson investigators. In the past week, there became some uncertainty about the future of our arson investigations at the township, and this is due to some attrition from the arson investigator team and a lack of interested persons in filling as replacements. So because of this, I'm tabling the idea of replacing the 17-year-old truck for another year, and instead I'm seeking to amend the lease request to replace my own car, which is a 9-year-old recycled patrol cruiser with over 112,000 miles with the lease of a Dodge Durango SUV.
Thank you very much. Was that the vehicle that stalled out on you on the way to a scene?
Yes.
I'm sorry about that. Any questions for Chief Mook? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the amended request?
I'll make that motion.
And I will second it. Mr. Olet, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
No.
I vote yes, motion carries. Squad room radio speaker installation. Chief Mook.
Thanks again. Within the police station, at times our portable radios are, they're unreliable. The reception, you cannot hear the police radio traffic very well. So that officers who are on station working on reports or criminal complaints and so forth, so that they maintain radio contact with dispatch, I'm requesting that a speaker be hardwired into the squad room from the dispatch center. And Mobilecom has given a quote for this. They've been our longtime radio service provider, and the quote is $409.76.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions for Chief Mook? Okay, is there a motion to approve the purchase of the speaker?
Motion to approve.
Go ahead, Dan.
Mr. Olet made a motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Bach seconded. Any discussion? I'll call for the vote. Mr. Olet, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion carries. Next, we have the 2024 milling and paving project bid results and award. Mr. Robert Donikowski.
Thank you. Good evening. On May 23rd, a public bid opening was held here at the township for the 2024 paving contract. This contract includes approximately 177,000 square yards of milling and paving and 13 ADA ramps. 2 bids were received. Lindy Paving submitted a bid of $3,082,804.70, and McCormick Construction submitted a bid of $3,218,337.80. We do have $1.3 million budgeted out of this year's general fund in the streets department, and approximately 1.7 million for liquid fuels this year, so we're very close to being on target budget-wise. So I recommend the award of this contract to Lindy Paving for $3,082,804.70.
Great, thank you very much. Do I have do we have any questions for Mr. Donikowski? Okay, hearing none. Do I have a motion to accept the bid results?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
A motion was made by Mr. Bach and seconded by Mr. Olet. Any discussion? Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Olet, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion carries. Next, we have from our engineering department, Oxer Road Sidewalk Project, bid results and award. And Mr. Rodemoyer.
Yes, thank you. On May 8th, 2024, we received 6 bids for our Oxer Road Sidewalk Project, with the 3 lowest bidders being Prescow at $53,793.30, Empire as the second lowest at $59,740, and Lindy at $60,680. Unfortunately, after review of the bids, we had notified or recognized several errors and some overall issues with Prescow's bid. And at this point, the engineering department is recommending rejection of that bid and going with the next lowest bidder with Empire's bid of $59,740. As far as the 2024, it was budgeted in as well under what we had budgeted for this year.
Nice, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Rodemoyer?
If I could, Mrs. Clear. Rob, am I correct that they also failed to include a number of the forms There's
There was.
sign,
I could-
there were a number of
litany
issues. that they're-
Yes, I mean, I could go through them, I have them, but yeah, there was math errors, there was, non-submission of certain items that are required as the bid. There was probably, I'd say, easily 7 to 10 errors and issues with the bid submission.
Thank you.
I have a question. Rob, the other bids, you didn't mention, or did you, Millcreek, Amendola, and Avila?
I just listed, we had 6 total bidders. I just listed the top 3 as far as the prices go.
Okay, well, maybe we want to give the other 3 too, just to give the range.
Sure?
You have them in front of you?
Yeah. So let me get my cheaters. Yes, Millcreek was at $78,122.40. Amendola was at $94,060. And Avila Concrete was at $134,972.
Thank you, Rob.
Sure.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion to approve Empire with the contract?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Mr. Bach and seconded by Mr. Olet. Any discussion? Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Olet, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion carries. Number 7 on our agenda, referral to the Planning Commission of a petition to rezone a portion of Edinburgh Road. Mr. Waldinger.
Thank you. Good evening. The township has received a petition request from Dennis M. Dolan and Mikovic LLC to rezone property that they own along Edinburgh Road. They'd like to change the zoning of those parcels from R1 single-family residential to MU2 corridor mixed use. As rezoning is a legislative decision, the process goes that the Board of Supervisors needs to forward this request on to the Planning Commission for them to begin their review and make a recommendation back to the board. So at this time, we're asking for you to forward this rezoning onto the Planning Commission for them to hear at their next hearing.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Waldinger? Okay. I will ask for a motion to approve the request.
So moved.
I'll second.
A motion was made by Mr. Olet and seconded by Mr. Bach. Mr. Olet, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion carries. We have new amended ordinances, under review. Mr. Shaw.
Yes, we have 3 that we're looking at. The first is a saldo that is being reviewed by engineering for its final review. In addition, we have an amendment to Chapter 55, Article 3, relating to the reimbursement for services and materials. Currently, that chapter provides specific authority to recover funds for the volunteer fire departments. With the addition of the Township Fire Department, we're looking to consolidate that process for the volunteer departments and to allow Millcreek Fire Department to obtain recoveries as may be allowed by law. We're also looking into the same ability to recover the costs incurred by the ambulance that was acquired by the township. The draft of this ordinance has been internally circulated and should be published shortly. I believe it'll be before the supervisors at the next meeting. And then the third is the zoning ordinance amendments. The current zoning ordinance was adopted in April of 2022. And earlier this year, the board referred the ordinance to the Planning Commission for review and recommendation of any proposed changes. The Planning Commission accepted comments on the current zoning ordinance and made a recommendation in their May meeting. The board will be considering those recommendations and will hold a public hearing on June 25th at 4:30 to consider the proposed amendments.
Great. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda, Ordinance 2024-4. This is the ordinance of Millcreek Township of Erie County, Pennsylvania, authorizing a referendum on the question of establishing a government study commission to consider the adoption of an optional form of government for Millcreek Township. Mr. Shaw.
Yes, before you, in accordance with the motion made at the last meeting, is proposed ordinance 2024-4. Under this ordinance, the following question will be placed on the ballot. Quote, shall a government study commission of 7 members be elected to study the existing form of government of the municipality to consider the advisability of the adoption of an optional form of government, and to recommend whether or not an optional plan of government should be adopted." Close quote. Pursuant to 53 PA-CSA Section 2912 of the Home Rule Charter and Optional Plans Law, the Government Study Commission of 7 members shall be elected by qualified voters at the same election the question is submitted to the electors. So at the same time that the populace is voting on the actual, actual question as to whether it should be forwarded or a commission should be created, they'll also be voting for the persons who would serve on that commission. In addition, under this ordinance, the solicitor is directed to do the following. 1, within 5 days after the final enactment of this ordinance, file a certified copy of the ordinance with the Erie County Department of Elections and Voter Registration, together with a copy of the question to be submitted to the electors at the 2024 general election. And secondly, to advise the Erie County Department of Elections and Voter Registration to post a notice of the election of the question of a government study commission in each polling place on the day of election, and the solicitor shall be responsible for arrangements to publish a notice in at least one newspaper of general circulation in Erie County once a week for 3 consecutive weeks during the period of 30 days prior to the 2024 general election. Solicitor is also authorized and directed to take all actions necessary to carry out the directives of the ordinance.
Okay, thank you very much. Any discussion?
No.
Okay. All right, then do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. Olet, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion carries. Next on our agenda, we have Resolution 2024 R13. This is a resolution pursuant to Resolution 2015 R20, and at the Municipal Records Manual to approve proposed disposition of certain records. Mr. Shaw.
Sure. Before you is a resolution to approve the disposal of certain municipal records maintained by the Police Department and the Finance Department that are reaching the end of their retention period under the Municipal Records Manual. The records to be disposed include MVR BWC footage that includes test recordings from 3/19 of 24 through 4/11 of 24, traffic stops from 2/28 of 24 to 3/12 of 24, incident only in special circumstances from 5/28 of 22 through 6/10 of 22, and case report, arrest report, and SRR unknown type from 5/28/04 through 6/10/04, payroll records relating to attendance records and W-2 forms 2010 through 2019, finance and purchasing documents related to AP capital expenditure ledgers, cost share reports, sewer and water billing accounts receivable reports, W-9 forms, and accounts payable reports from 2006 through 2016.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Shaw? Do I have a motion to approve the disposal of those items?
So moved.
Second.
A motion was made by Mr. Olet and seconded by Mr. Bach. Mr. Olet, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion carries. Next on the agenda, we have Ms. Page, who will be discussing Resolution 2024 R14.
Thank you. I am seeking approval to, seeking approval of the resolution to submit Millcreek Township's application of county aid to Erie County for our allocation of the county's liquid fuels allocation for the purchase of road salt. And this would be in the amount of $67,038 that we would receive.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Ms. Page? Ms. Page, just so that our residents know, liquid fuels, can you explain where that money comes from?
It originates from the state as a reimbursement back to the municipalities. The county gets their own allocation, and then they turn around and, through resolution, can allocate it back to the municipalities that apply.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to approve the submittal of the application for county aid?
So moved.
I'll second.
A motion was made by Mr. Olet and seconded by Mr. Bach. Any discussion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. Mr. Olet, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion carries. I hope the county approves it too. We have Chairman Scatella in the audience tonight. Okay, next up, we have Resolution 2024 R15. Mr. Shaw.
Yes, Resolution 2024 R15 is a memorandum of understanding, intergovernmental agreement between the Township, Erie Waterworks, and Green Township, whereby the parties agree to work together to cooperate to extend and expand water supply to residents within Millcreek Township and Green Township along Wattsburg Road. I believe it's the area south of I-90 or in the I-90 area, to residents within both Millcreek and Green Townships and other areas as they're deemed necessary and feasible. This MOU does not obligate the township to expend any funds, but rather the parties would all work together to seek out funding sources to cover the cost of design, permitting, and construction for these extensions and expansions. The recommendation would be to approve this MOU intergovernmental agreement with Green Township and Erie Waterworks.
Any questions for Mr. Shaw? I'll just make a comment that this has been something we've been working on for a few years. We initially met with Green Township trying to get them water, and it's been a few years in the making, but I can proudly say that we worked with the county and PennDOT and Erie Waterworks to come up with this, and it will not cost the taxpayers. This is coming out of the Erie Waterworks funding expansion. So I think this is a good solution, and it will make sure we are getting water south of 90 to our Millcreek residents. So thank you very much. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
Mr. Olet made a motion. It was seconded by Mr. Bach. I'll call for the vote. Mr. Olet, how do you vote?
Yes.
And Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion carries. Next up, we have an MOA, Memorandum of Agreement with AFSCME. And to speak on this is about the summer infrastructure overtime. Mr. Donikowski.
I'm sorry, Ms. Cleary, I think you might have skipped one.
Oh, I apologize. I'm sorry. Resolution 2024 R16. Thank you. This is going to be Mr. Shaw.
Sure. Before is a request from the Erie County Land Bank to exonerate taxes for the year 2023 on a vacant parcel of land in the township that was owned by the Land Bank and is located on Allison Drive, bearing Erie County Tax ID number 33-092-376.0-070.04. Total township taxes to be exonerated for the 2023 tax year is $51.84. It's my understanding from the Land Bank that this parcel has been or will be conveyed to an abutting property owner as a side yard. The recommendation would be to approve this resolution. If you recall, I think this was the property that had been vacant for a long time. It had been part of a subdivision and was supposed to be reserved for a potential future road that was never going to happen. So I think the decision was made to try to get it back on the tax rolls because none of the prior, quote, owners were ever paying taxes, I think.
Thank you very much.
Just had a quick question.
Oh, sure.
For Attorney Shaw, who owned the property? Nobody, or?
Trying to remember if
do you remember?
the township did or if it was.
It may have been the original developer. I don't know if they
think.
ever transferred it out, and then the land bank obtained it. This capital.
Yes, that's correct. It was originally owned by the developer, and then it went into the repository because no one paid taxes, because there was a restriction on the map that said it would be reserved for a future road. So then we released that, and then the land bank was able to acquire it through the repository, and then we're able to sell it to an adjoining property owner.
Okay, so it normally would have been the developer that would have paid the taxes on it?
In theory, yes, but then it was originally, like I said, reserved for us to move forward with putting a road through there. So there would have never been anything there if we had put a road through there. I don't know who the developer is. It might have been Redinger Builders, and I don't know if they exist currently.
Yeah, that was Schaefer Builders, I believe.
Okay.
Okay, so this action gets it back onto the tax roll, so to speak, because the adjoining owners are going to take ownership of it?
Effectively.
Yes, the land bank is transferring it to the abutting property owner, so it will go back onto the tax rolls. This is just exonerating the taxes while the land bank owns
Got
it.
it. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by Mr. Bach and seconded by Mr. Olet. Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Olet, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion carries. Now we are on to the memorandum of agreement, number 14 on the agenda. MOA with AFSCME regarding summer infrastructure overtime. Mr. Janikowski.
Yes, before you is the 2024 Summer Infrastructure Overtime MOA between the Township and AFSCME Local 3530. This allows streets employees up to 8 hours of overtime per week from June 1st to August 31st. This is the same agreement that we do every summer with the Streets Department, and we definitely have no shortage of work in that department. So I'm recommending its approval.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Donikowski? Okay, take advantage of the nice weather to get our projects done. Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
A motion was made by Mr. Olet and seconded by Mr. Bach. Mr. Olet, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion carries. Number 15 on the agenda, stormwater maintenance agreement and acceptance of stormwater management plan in the Laurel Hill Cemetery. And to speak on this is Mr. Rudemoyer.
Actually, I think I'm going to
Oh,
handle this
sorry.
one today. That's okay.
Skipping you. Mr. Waldinger, thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, as you mentioned, this is for a land development for the Laurel Hill Cemetery, Section 15. They're doing an expansion, which is essentially just additional roadway. The developer of that is the Erie Cemetery Association. They have submitted a stormwater management plan. It has been reviewed by Greenman Peterson Incorporated, our contracted third-party reviewing agency. The plan, as submitted, meets the substantive requirements of the Stormwater Management Ordinance. So in front of you is a copy of the letter from GPI, as well as a copy of Erie Cemetery Association's Stormwater Maintenance Agreement. And so at this time, I would recommend approval of the Stormwater Maintenance Agreement and acceptance of their Stormwater Management Plan.
Great. Any questions for Mr. Waldinger? Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
A motion was made by Mr. Olet and seconded by Mr. Bach. Mr. Olet, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion carries. Stormwater Operations Maintenance Agreement on Wolf Road.
I am going to handle it.
Okay, now this is for Mr. Rudemoyer. Thank you.
Well, I do have to apologize. Our department got a little ahead of ourselves with this one. At this point, there is some design concerns that need to be resolved prior to this agreement. So at this point, I think we need to request this be tabled at this point.
Okay. I have a motion to table item 16 on the agenda.
So moved.
I'll second.
A motion was made by Mr. Olet and seconded by Mr. Bach. Mr. Olet, how do you vote to table?
Yes.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes, and number 16 is tabled. Thank you very much, Mr. Rudemoyer. Number 17, fire insurance release agreement from, this is regarding a West 38th Street property. To speak on this is Mr. Shaw.
Yeah, this relates to a request for a partial release of fire insurance funds being held by the township as a result of a fire at 2350 West 38th Street in Millcreek. People may not be aware, but when there's a fire at a facility, the township collects a certain percentage of the fire insurance funds to ensure that the work gets done on time and gets completed, so that if the homeowner doesn't, the township at least has funds available to do something with that. In this case, the township received a total of $14,959.90 from the insured's fire insurance company in accordance with the township code. Subsequent to the fire, the insured sold the property at 2350 West 38th Street to a third party who was to make the repairs needed to the property for the damage caused by the fire. There was no agreements shifting the responsibility of or the right to this fire insurance to the new owner, so it was still held by the original insured. The new owner has made most of the repairs to the property and is awaiting the delivery of windows that are behind schedule. The prior owner is seeking a release of 50% of the amount being held, since so much of the work has already been completed. After discussing this matter with code enforcement, this agreement proposes to release 50% of the amount being held, with the balance being released once all work is completed and a certificate of occupancy is issued for the property. Under the code, the township is authorized to enter into such an agreement. The recommendation would be to approve the agreement.
Is there a motion to approve the agreement for the fire insurance release?
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second.
A motion was made by Mr. Olet and seconded by Mr. Bach. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Mr. Olet, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion carries. Number 18 on the agenda is the authorization to proceed to list the property for sale. Mr. Shaw.
Yes, before you is a request for the authority to issue an invitation to bid relating to the Erie Golf Club. This would authorize the Director of Parks and Recreation to issue the invitation to bid for the sale of Erie Golf Club. We're currently expected to issue this document by the end of this week, assuming that the supervisors authorize us to proceed. The bids are projected to be due on or about July 17th of 2024, with the bid awarded at the following meeting on July 23rd of 2024, which is a public meeting on that date. The closing then would be projected to occur either in late December or early January after court approval, as well as after a due diligence period for the winning bidder. The recommendation is to authorize the Director of Parks and Recreation to proceed to issue the invitation to bid.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Mr. Shaw? I would like to note before we proceed with having a motion that I do respect Mr. McGrath so much, former supervisor, and all of the hard work that you have done with the golf course and in the investment that you made in the golf course. Yes, so thank you very much for bringing that asset to Millcreek Township, and due to some management challenges, I just hope you know we haven't been in a vacuum, and we've done a lot of work to understand where we're at. So thank you, Mr. McGrath.
Kim, I was going to echo those statements. I really respect Brian's opinion on this, and we've done a lot of research, and I'm only speaking for myself in that the sale might not go through. We might not get the bid we want. I'm not giving this course away. So, let's see what the bids show, and we can have the right to reject all of them. We'll just see what it shows there. So, it has been a staple for many, many years. My son currently plays there, loves the course, and the fact that it's remaining a course is what, for me, is very key. If this was going to go another direction, I don't think there'd be an appetite for this, but the fact it's going to remain as a golf course is huge. So, let's see what the bid process shows, and we'll go from there.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mr. Bach. Do I have any other discussion? Is there a motion to approve the authorization to proceed with to list the property?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Mr. Bach and seconded by Mr. Olet. Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Olet, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion carries. Next up, number 19 on our agenda are communications. First up, we have Treasurer Communications. Ms. Page?
I do not have anything else at this time.
Thank you very much. We have hiring requests, that's plural, from Parks and Rec. Ms. Marsteller.
Hello, thank you. The listed employees are requested to be approved for hire for seasonal positions with the Parks and Rec Department in our day camp program at the first year rate of $13 an hour. The wages of part-time seasonal staff are accounted for in the Parks and Recreational operational budget, so it's my recommendation to approve the listed staff as day camp counselors at the seasonal part-time rate of $13 an hour.
Great. Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion was made by Mr. Bach and seconded by Mr. Olet. Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Olet, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion carries. We have training requests, 2 of them from Chief Mook. Chief Mook, if you'd like to do both, I believe we can do both and vote,
Thank you, Mrs. Clear.
as long as the board is comfortable with that.
First, there's a one-day sexual assault response training conference on May 31st at Penn West Edinburgh. The conference will empower investigators with additional knowledge and tactics in the investigation of sexual assaults. I'm recommending that the following detectives be permitted to attend: Lieutenant Fallon, Corporal Bolash, Corporal Shoup, Detective Inman, and Detective Pastorati. There's no cost to attend the conference, and travel will be by department vehicle. The second request concerns the 111th Annual PA Chiefs of Police Association's Education and Training Conference, and that's being held at the Bayfront Convention Center in Erie, July 21st through the 24th. Guest speakers are lecturing each day on various police-related topics that are a concern of police leaders. I'm requesting approval for Captain Hauber and I to attend the conference. Captain Hauber is the department's accreditation program manager, and the conference provides information and networking opportunities on this topic. The registration cost for us to attend together is $850. There are no other costs associated with the training. Travel will be by department vehicle.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to approve the 2 training requests presented by Chief Mook?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
A motion was made by Mr. Olet and seconded by Mr. Bach. Mr. Olet, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion carries. We have our PADEP 904 recycling report and award from Ms. Stutzman.
Thank you. Good evening. I just wanted to take a moment to highlight the positive impact of Millcreek's 2023 recycling efforts on the environment and the local community. Last year, Millcreek Township residents and businesses recycled a total of 17,638 tons of material collectively from both single-stream recycling, but also in the categories of paper, metal, plastics, household hazardous waste, organics, and etc. These figures are obtained through our annual recycling report, which is returned by both haulers and businesses. Through our curbside program with Waste Management, Millcreek Township residents recycled approximately 3,404 tons, which was then sent to the Neville Island Material Recovery Facility for processing. The Waste Management at Your Door continues to be a success, with a total of 108,426 pounds, I'm switching from tons to pounds now, of household hazardous waste and electronic waste that is collected and recycled properly. Electronics specifically made up over 32,000 pounds of this total. The annual recycling report figures help the CRS department evaluate the recycling program's performance and implement strategies to optimize efficiency, increase participation, and address emerging challenges. With that, we did submit our 904 grant back in December, and the DEP just emailed to let us know that we were awarded $99,771.33 for our efforts in recycling this year.
That's great. Thank you, Ms. Stutzman. Ms. Stutzman, what is that used for then?
It goes back into different programs, events, education, all that goes into the CRS department.
Okay, great, wonderful. Thank you very much. I think I'm going to ask a question. I think we've had a few calls about Waste Management, and they were down a truck. Is that what I have heard?
Yes. The trucks were facing some challenges this week. I know that a lot of residents were missed, a lot of township employees, including the supervisors, those in my department, we were all missed. So, we have been documenting those calls and reporting them to Waste Management and following up accordingly.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And congratulations on your award, by the way. And was Mill Fair Recycling, that event, was that a success?
It was.
I was there,
yes.
so I could say yeah.
Yes,
but.
it was a great success. I'm preparing the grant for that, so when I have the figures ready, I'll I'll present that at the next supervisors meeting.
Thank you very much. Next is a PSATS award announcement.
Yes. So Millcreek Township's efforts to keep residents updated and informed about the community have earned the municipality an award in the statewide PSATS 56th Annual Citizen Communication Contest. The contest recognizes townships that outstandingly communicate programs and activities to its citizens. Millcreek received first place in the multimedia communications category. This was for the 2023 Bus Patrol Bus Safety PSA with MTSD Assistant Superintendent Murnock and Supervisor Clear and MPD Officer Bastow. And that full press release is available at millcreektownship.com. And we wanted to say thank you to PSATS for allowing us to enter our entry, the Millcreek Township School District, Bus Patrol, and additional footage, and WQLN for production support.
Yes, I was just going to say, Sam Peterson, our communications coordinator, he's between him and Millcreek Township, their communications, and Bill, and there was someone else there too, WQLN. Anyway, we get that, they're the ones behind that, so great job. Thank you. Executive sessions. Executive sessions took place on May 16th of 2024, and real estate matters related to park and rec facilities, lease of township properties, easements on township property, and easements for sewer projects were discussed, as well as personnel matters and litigation related to federal lawsuits, code enforcement matters, and easement disputes. On May 23rd, 2024, real estate matters related to park and rec facilities, lease of township property, easements on township property, and easements for sewer projects, personnel matters, litigation matters related to federal lawsuits, zoning permitting disputes, easement disputes, and code enforcement matters were discussed. Solicitor communications.
Nothing further on my end.
Okay, thank you. Our student ambassador report. Oh, wonderful. This is our student from Millcreek Township. He is a senior, graduating. How many days?
A couple.
Couple days. Are you
Nice to meet you.
excited?
A little bit.
I'm sure.
Nice to meet everyone. My name is Anthony Madursky. As Chairman Clear said, I am a senior at McDowell High School, and what I'd like to report is actually related to the graduation ceremony, which is going to take place June 6th of this year. So I just want to let everyone know, if you had any relatives or anyone attending McDowell, the graduation ceremony is June 6th. I believe it's at Erie Insurance Arena as well. So
That's right. It's a great affair. Okay, thank you very much, sir, and good luck. Good luck on your future and where you're going next. And we're very excited for you. We were really happy to have you a part of Millcreek Township.
Congratulations.
And you can come back here and live someday after you go to college. Okay. All right. Now we have citizens to be heard. Each resident has 5 minutes to speak. You can just say your name, and then you'll just write your name and address after you're done.
My name is Heather Pangborn, and we were here on May 7th for the board meeting, and we were advised to come back regarding a subdivision of property.
Was it the planning commission meeting?
It was a board meeting. We were moving our property line. The last name is Pangborn. Woodside Drive in Clifford.
Sorry, hang on, let me check one thing. That was the planning commission, right? Would it have been heard to?
The 14th would have been the next supervisors meeting, then the 28th is this one. I don't know, is that the first day here at the time, or if it's?
No.
The letter that we received in the mail had this date.
Yeah.
And when we were here that night, they had told us to come back this date as well.
Do you have the letter with you?
Did not
I believe she's correct. It did not make the agenda. I missed that when the agenda was put together.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah. So it still has to be acted on by the Board of Supervisors. It could not be added to today's agenda, so we would have to do that at the June 11th meeting. Would it be possible? You do not have to be in attendance for that.
Can we get your name and phone number? Maybe we can speak to you outside of this and get some more information.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Do you have a second to stay after the meeting?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll get that from you.
Okay.
I'll talk to you
Thank you.
immediately after.
Okay.
And then, yes, thank you. Sure, Mr. Shaw has asked for. Did everyone have a nice Memorial Day weekend?
You killing time.
Yes. I did. How many more people do we need to hire, Miss Marsteller?
Any and every lifeguard imaginable, please. Yes.
So if you are a lifeguard, or if you know a lifeguard, if you know anyone with a pulse, and, I'm kidding, and what qualifications do they need?
A certification, we prefer American Red Cross.
American
certified
Red Cross certification.
rescuers.
For what?
For lifeguard rescuers, professional
For rice,
rescuers.
okay, so we prefer that, and please let us know. They can call us. Do we pay well?
We do, last week we approved raises, so it is a very competitive paying position in Millcreek, yes.
Maybe I should go get mine. Oh. Do we have other jobs available?
We had great retention this year, which we're very excited about.
We like when they come back.
We do, yes.
Do we have a lot of McDowell students?
We have several McDowell students, yes. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Mr. Shaw, you're back.
I was trying to see if we could possibly fit it under an exception to the agenda rules, but I don't think we can. So.
Okay, okay. All right, that's okay. We'll make sure we get your name and information. Thank you for your patience. Okay, other citizens to be heard? No? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
I will state that our next meeting is going to be here June 11th at 9:30 a.m. We hope to see you there. I'll call for the vote. Mr. Ouellette, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Bach, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned at